Hello everyone, let's go ahead and get started. My name is Ali, and I'm here with the International Product Launch Team for Brazil, including Alejandra, John, Koki, and Tia. Throughout the presentation, we will address Brazil's business culture, economic well-being, and government and trading relations provided with research data analysis information and our recommendations on how best to proceed. The team will also be providing 3 product options that have the potential to be successful in Brazil. First up, we'll hear from John on Hofstede Cultural Dimensions.
The Hofstede Cultural Dimensions, developed by Getz, Hofstede and his team, in 6 dimensions, was helpful to assess the cultural difference between Brazil when compared to the United States, and to also help to know what to expect when doing business in Brazil. The power distance, where they score 69, shows that Brazil actually believes in the hierarchy and inequality among the people, as the case might be. Individualism, where they score 38, dimension indicates that Brazil is a more collective society. Under masculinity, Brazil scored 49, placing them at a neutral ground of neither masculinity nor a feminized society. Uncertainty avoidance, they scored 76, indicating that the society is full of high bureaucracy, laws, and rules. In the long-term orientation, they score 44, Brazil, placing them at a middle ground of a society that maintains time-honored tradition and also pursuit of education. While the indulgence, where they score 59, places them also as a society that places importance on leisure and time spent of money. Thank you.
Business culture scales, communicating. Implicit, Brazilians will not to be too direct or immediate in their expression. Many also pay attention to nonverbal behavior to develop their impression of one another. Thus, they may often focus more on your body language and your expressiveness rather than intently listen to the content of the conversation. Evaluating. Indirect negative feedback. Brazilians tend to provide softly and diplomatically negative feedback. Positive messages are used to wrap negative ones. Criticism is given only in private. Disagreeing. Brazilians generally tend to avoid conflict. Scheduling. Brazilians to be flexible. Project steps are approached in a fluid manner, changing tasks as opportunities arise. It's not uncommon for appointments to be cancelled or changed at the last minute. Don't appear impatient if you are kept waiting. Brazilians see times as something outside their control, and the demands of relationships take precedence over adhering to a strict schedule. Brazilians take time when negotiating. Don't rush them or appear impatient.
This is bargaining section. Brazilians are used to tough negotiation, but they do not like bargaining. Therefore, they can sometimes be overall aggressive negotiators. For example, the price may vary by 40% depending on the price at the beginning and end of the negotiation. Therefore, when negotiating with them, our team should start with a price that is sufficiently affordable. Furthermore, they may try to mislead us to gain an advantage in the negotiations. However, this is a necessary action for them to overcome tough negotiations, so avoid using pressure tactics such as time pressure or making expired offers. It's particularly important for our negotiating team to remain calm when negotiating with those in Brazil. If when we respond and become reactive, they will follow our actions. We should not make any remarks or actions that hurt their pride. Brazilians are proud to have survived tough negotiations.
A quick overview of Brazil's economic health will show a volatile gross national income, or GNI, and gross domestic product, or GDP, with sharp downturns in 2016 and 2020 as shown in the bar chart and line graph above, with only mild upturns from 2017 to 2019. These large fluctuations show the instability of the economy and indicate potential high risk for business owners. The inflation rate currently appears stable but has shown a history of sharp upswings and needs to be monitored closely to indicate the purchasing power of the Brazilian real. When inflation is high, customers spend less money and more working capital is needed. As you can see here, the lending interest rate in Brazil is trending downward. However, when compared to the United States, Brazil has extremely high interest rates. The lending rate in the US averaged 4.27%, while over the same 5-year period, Brazil averaged 40.92%. With the unpredictability of the Brazilian economy, fluctuating value of the Brazilian real, and exceptionally high loan interest rates, it will be important to carefully research economic trends and consider how to raise and manage funds during economic slumps.
The outcome of the research carried out to identify reasons responsible for significant increase in the fluctuation of Brazilian real currency has it that within the 20th century alone, starting from 1941 till date, Brazilian currency has been changed for 8 good times to curtail inflation. The payment of foreign debt by lots of Brazilian companies had created high risk of physical sustainability of the currency, thereby contributing immensely to fluctuation. Other factors also has been responsible for this, such as the change in the monetary policy, the high tariff, the capital inflow, the high inflation, and economic performance as well. And the impact has actually been quite negative in such a way that it has made the economy a very unstable economy. Profitability in the country is uncertain, as well as other negative effects that has to do with expansion of the economy, production, and labor productivity. What we recommend as a result of the research finding is the fact that there is need to increase the level of capital control and review of fiscal policies. The country should as well embrace policies and reforms that increase international interest rates through review of monetary liquidity, adjusting their exchange rates to meet the industrial equilibrium. The central bank of the country should also be able to assist in fixing this by adopting a crawling page system. Thank you.
As we look at the Economic Freedom Index, which compares or ranks the level of government intervention of the economy within a nation, we see that Brazil has an overall score of 53.3. The higher the score, the less government intervention. Brazil sits nearly in the middle, and this puts it at the 133rd most free economy in the world according to the 2022 Index of Economic Freedom. As the graph shows, Brazil is on par with the world average. It was above average 20 years ago, but in the last 15 years, it has consistently been below the world average. With a score of 40 in government integrity, it is assumed that corruption among government officials is present, and therefore bribes would be expected, along with intimidation and coercion. Brazil is doing well in regulatory efficiency of business freedom, labor freedom, and monetary freedom, with all scoring above the world average. With that being said, the effects of COVID-19 are still unknown and could change this part of their score.
This is the government and the politics section. Brazil is a federal presidential republic. Chief of state is President Jair Bolsonaro and Vice President Antonio Hamilton Martins Mourão since January 1, 2019. Government debt is expected to remain stable for the next 2 years, with 90.2 in 2022 and 91.7 in 2023. This suggests that when the situation worsens for foreign companies in the future, the tightening of taxes may increase. The government budget deficit is slightly increased to 7.1 and 6.2% in 2022 and 2023, respectively. The current situation is that they are not able to solve domestic economic problems in their politics. As a result, it's obvious that they will seek economic reward for new foreign companies.
Brazil has high tariffs, is a member of the World Trade Organization and other foreign relation groups. It has been a member of the World Trade Organization since January 1, 1995, and with its membership status, Brazil must uphold the rules and regulations of the WTO regarding their most favored nation. They cannot cut deals with other WTO member countries that would give them an unfair advantage. Brazil already has high tariffs, with many of the products listed on the WTO website showing tariffs around 35%. Brazil also has many different relationships with different countries around the world, which makes it easier to do business, and you can see the list of the different business relations here on the slide. Things have improved in Brazil with starting a business in recent years. However, there is still a lot of room for improvement. To start a business, there are 11 required procedures that must be followed, and many of the steps take place during post-registration, and the business owner will need to visit at least 6 different agencies before they can start their business, and this is an improvement. It is recorded that a decade ago it took 15 steps and 120 days at a cost of 7.3% of income per capita to register a firm in Sao Paulo. Today, in the same city, it takes 11 steps, 13.5 days, and 2.7% of income per capita. In 2019, Brazil passed the Economic Freedom Law. This law is intended to help entrepreneurs and the country's economy. One of the big benefits of this law is that it helps to accelerate licenses needed for businesses that have low-risk activities. Taxes can be filed and paid online, but companies still must face many obstacles to comply with Brazil's tax system. It is a very complex system that has high rates and many procedures to follow. On average, Brazil spends more days and more time enforcing contracts. Brazil started to use an e-justice in 2006, and this was increased during the pandemic. Brazil is now the regional leader in using e-justice and the court automation. Doing business in Brazil is slightly risky, but achievable and doable for those who make sure that they follow all the steps necessary to start a business and stay up to date with taxes.
After completing extensive market research, our team will present 3 viable products that could be launched in Brazil. The first product is wireless headphones or earbuds. The wireless headphone market has seen rapid growth, upwards of 300% over the past 2 years in Brazil. Because of unprecedented growth, there is room for new players in the market. As prices of these products go down, they have become more affordable to those of developing countries like Brazil. There are a few potential market barriers. One is deciding to import versus export. With a low individualism score, they may be more willing to support locals rather than foreign companies. Also, it is likely cheaper to produce in Brazil than to have the product imported due to steep tariffs and high taxes on goods. Another is the volatility of the Brazilian economy and instability of the Brazilian real. This could affect consumer purchasing decisions and company cost of goods sold. To gain temporary competitive advantage over the 6 key companies currently in the market, we could emphasize being a newer and trendier brand which may appeal to the younger demographic that typically purchases wireless headphones. Another idea is to market to those who love Brazilian sports like Brazilian football, aka American soccer. This could go along with an ad featuring a well-known athlete wearing our headphones. We could even create a line of specific Brazilian featured products showing the various colors of Brazil, their flag, and other cultural elements that speak specifically to the people. With this competitive advantage, our team believes market barriers can be overcome and wireless headphones will be a successful product in Brazil.
Product 2, air circulator. Circulators are home applications that circulate air in a room by creating a liner for rich wind. It is also called an air circulator. Both circulators and fans are designed to send wind by spinning their wings. They look exactly alike, but there is a big difference in their purpose. Circulators are designed to circulate air, and fans are designed to cool people down. Due to the climate in Brazil, air conditioners and fans are very important products. However, there are problems with both. First of all, air conditioners are expensive for Brazilians, and the cost of installing and operating them is a problem. They may prefer fans to install air conditioners. However, the size of the fan takes up a lot of space. Furthermore, it cannot circulate wet air, which can adversely affect the air circulation. On the other hand, the air circulator is compact and inexpensive. Japanese company Iris Awayama has established a market in Japan. Their products are inexpensive and highly functional. For example, it can rotate 360 degrees in circulate air throughout the room. In addition, it consumes less power and can be operated at a lower cost. They also sell the product in Brazil, but it's no longer famous. The reason is that they are exporting to Brazil, so the price is a little higher. So they should propose to product it in Brazil and sell it at a low price. That will generate a great profit in the future.
Point of sale teller machine as a research product for the Brazilian market has a whole lot of market demand as it assists foreigners who come into the country to be able to access foreign currency and cash to be able to spend. It also increases the growing business opportunity in the country as it creates business opportunities. It will also assist those that live in the rural areas at up to 12.93% in population, and also lessen the cost of traveling to banks to be able to access cash. It also has been identified as a premium payment option. The market barriers that possibly exist will be the fact that the customers will need to either get a credit or debit card or have the mobile app or short codes to be able to access it. It will also create serious competition among the established banks, and private companies can also come into this to be able to tap into the market.
Thank you so much for your time. We'd now like to open the floor to any questions.